Hey everybody, so last week I shared the idea of discussing some home workouts, specifically offering a critical eye to see what about your workouts might be likely to work well and what might warrant some adjustment. And I'm happy to say that quite a few of you took me up on that offer. I received a few workout ideas, so today I thought we'd pick one submission and talk about it together. So let's jump in. This was the first workout that was asked about. I got this one from an Instagram comment, and since it was first, I figured it's a good place to begin. Now, I began my career in fitness as a CrossFit coach, and this workout would look right at home on a whiteboard in a CrossFit gym. And I mean that in a very good way. It's great for what's going on right now. There's no equipment necessary. It would work well for a small group, even though obviously right now we should be very careful about group training. Still, it's a good place to start for our current climate. Now, back when I was writing CrossFit workouts, and still now when I'm writing conditioning workouts, I feel that it's important to pay attention to balance. What I mean by that is, does each element of the workout contribute at least somewhat equally? Do the different exercises take the same amount of time or effort, or however else you might choose to kind of measure their effects? To illustrate what I mean, let's take the ridiculous example workout of a 20-minute AMRAP, 50 burpees, and 10 jumping jacks. You don't need to be a coach to tell that this workout doesn't make a lot of sense. The 10 jumping jacks are so disproportionate to the burpees in pretty much every way, efforts, time, that they don't really add much of anything. So it's just not a very well-balanced workout. And with that in mind, let's head back to our case study. Let's assume that you can do a 400-meter run in 90 seconds and that you can do burpees at a pace of 20 per minute. Those are a little on the aggressive side, but they're reasonable. And of course, none of us are going to be perfectly consistent in a challenging conditioning effort. We're going to tire as we progress, but still it'll help with our math, so let's roll with it for now. So at the beginning of our workout, we do 21 burpees, which based on our assumptions would take us just over 1 minute. Then we move to our first run, which takes a minute and a half. So far, so good. This is a very reasonable division of effort between our two exercises. But once we get to the bottom of the workout, I suspect you'd realize that things are going to start to feel a little bit different. So let's pick up with our final 3 rounds. There we do 9 burpees, which takes us 27 seconds. Then move to another minute and a half of running. Then 6 burpees, we'll call that 18 seconds, then another minute and a half of running. Then 3 burpees, which is 9 seconds, and then another run. So at the tail end of our workout, we're running for 4.5 minutes and doing burpees for less than 1 minute. Or another way to think of that would be that for this admittedly arbitrary portion of our workout, about 83% of our time is spent running and 17% is spent doing burpees. Now, I imagine that some of you might be inferring where I'm going here, and I want to make one thing very clear before we go any further, and that this is not objectively bad. There's nothing to say that your elements have to be perfectly balanced to one ratio or another, so we're not breaking any scientific rules here. It's not wrong. In fact, when it comes to program design and exercise selection, very few things are good or bad or right or wrong. I would posit to you that this is simply not a very productive way to think about your workouts. A more useful way to evaluate how successful a workout is to ask, is this appropriate? Or is this workout or choice of exercise going to produce the training effect or the end results that we want? So if our goal with this workout was to lean more heavily towards running, potentially even drastically so as we progress towards the end, well, then we nailed it. But if the goal was to produce something a little more balanced between our running and our burpees, well, we're close, but there might be a couple simple adjustments we can make to kind of even things out. Now, I'm going to repeat this because it's really, really important when it comes to workout design. It's seldom about good or bad. It's about context. Game of Thrones is a great book, and Dragons Love Tacos is also a great book. But if the goal is for me to pick a bedtime story for my toddler, one of those choices makes much more sense given that context. So you should always, always, always be asking yourself, what is even the point of this workout? What am I trying to accomplish? And then all of your choices should lead you towards that goal. Now, with this workout, I don't have much in the way of context, so I have to make some assumptions. But if it were me, I might aim for something a little more evenly split between our running and our burpees. So here are 2 suggestions to help get us there. The first one is simple. Let's cut the run in half. If we do a 200-meter run, the first chunk of the workout might feel a little more burpee heavy, as a greater proportion of our time is spent doing burpees. Then in the middle rounds, things probably even out. We're spending about the same amount of time running as we are burpees. And then towards the end, it's more run heavy. This lets us maintain the novelty that we get with this type of asymmetric workout. It's kind of cool to have the balance of effort shift from one exercise to the next as you progress. But by the end, we have a more balanced accumulation of effort between our running and our burpees. Now, if you really want to make things nice and tidy, which I'm not saying you should, but if you did, you could swap the run out for shuttle runs. Shuttle runs became a favorite of mine towards the end of my CrossFit days because, among other reasons, they're easy to count. You can do reps of running just like you can do reps of any other exercise, which makes it a lot easier to see how a running component fits in with the other parts of your workout. So if we were to do a 10-meter shuttle run, rep for rep with the burpees, now things are about as even as we could hope for. In this case, we lose the cool effect of the workout changing as we progress, but what you might gain is an incentive to push a little harder as you approach the finish line. Those later sets are going to go really fast. You're not spending a whole lot of time doing either your sets of burpees or your run, so you get to kind of accelerate towards the finish line, and then that can be fun too. So let's wrap things up here. If you're still watching, thank you. And I know this sounds cliche, but I'd be very grateful if you could comment or otherwise let me know if you enjoyed this little case study experiment. If it's useful, then we can see about making it a regular thing. I hope you'll also feel free to send along any workout ideas that you have, stuff that you've created yourself or maybe found online and want a second opinion on. And send them along and I'll be happy to do a similar breakdown. But for now, I hope this was fun. I wish you all well, stay safe, and stay healthy.